So that started when I was in college, and then I went off to graduate school at UPenn. And I was studying cognitive science and learning under conditions of uncertainty. And about once a year, my brother would fly me out to Las Vegas because I was there on a National Science Foundation fellowship, which isn't that much money. At the time, it was $13,000 a year. So I couldn't really afford fancy vacations, but he would fly me out once a year when the World Series of Poker was happening. Um, and I pretty quickly found like in a tournament, you're not allowed to sit behind somebody, so that's kind of boring. And I found that I was kind of bored. So he actually just gave me a little bit of money to go play poker on my own. And I, all through graduate school, I sort of would go out and I would play once a year. But again, I'm not planning to become a poker player at this point. So at the end of graduate school, it was 5 years in, I'd done my dissertation work. I was out on the job market and I got really sick and needed to take some time off. And when I took that time off, I didn't have my fellowship anymore. And so my brother actually suggested, well, while you're sort of taking time off, why don't you try playing poker? And maybe you could make some money to support yourself until you go back to grad school. Um, and I was like, okay. And I went and started playing poker and started doing well right away and never made my way back to grad school. I do want to say one thing because you're much younger than I am, that it probably doesn't seem so strange for someone to become a professional poker player to you because your whole life professional poker like has been on television and so people can see it. They know that this is a thing that you do. When I did that, this was in the 90s. There was no poker on television. So generally when people found out what I did, uh, usually the conversation would wind its way to Gamblers Anonymous. Like that maybe I should consider that. So, it wasn't like, poker players weren't cool. They were like, shady people who were gambling addicts as far as the public was concerned. So it was only because my brother had been playing, he had sort of gotten into poker in New York that I even knew about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even known it was a thing. And he's the one who encouraged me to start doing it. So that's how I made my way to that. And I think both my brother and I kind of had a knack for it because even though we didn't play poker when we were young, we played a lot of cards. Um, and all card games have some similarities in the way that they flow. And I think that that actually really helped us develop a knack for it.